This August 23rd Picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our Patreon. Score exclusive perks, content and contests, including our NFL Win Totals contest with a $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app to get last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Use promo code SGPN for $20 off. And we're brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Use the code DGEN. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet, only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code DGEN. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Tuesday, August the 22nd. We have a full slate of games. In fact, we've got a bonus game. There's a double header. So we've got 16 games for Wednesday, August the 23rd. We've got lines on them all. We've got pictures on the majority of them. We've got a full house for the second night running. Joining me first and foremost is Mr. Munaf Manji. Hey, Munaf, how are you?
Doing well. Like you mentioned, I know not finally, but it's been a couple nights where we haven't been able to get the full lines available because these books are scared that we're going to smash these opening lines. I think that's just what it is. But no, good to be here with you boys. Excited to go through this card on Wednesday. Ever so closer, Mal, to the finishing line of the regular season, at least.
Yeah, it's countdown time. Definitely countdown time. It's getting exciting. And our third host this evening, Mr. Lonte Smith. Lonte, the aliens got you last night. You said they might.
Yeah, man, I'm back. I actually did well. I should have stayed on. I went like 7. I went like 7-1 last night, so I should have stayed on and gave out some of my picks. But yeah, man, looking forward to breaking it down with you two legends on the podcast, man.
The chat. Let's say hello to everyone. Trev was first in. Randy's here. Captain Insano, me and Captain Insano are locked in battle in the D-Gens League this week, and it's pretty tight. It's quite an important game. Not to anybody else in the world, just to me and Captain, obviously. But yeah, it's tight. Ryan's here as well, Kaysen. So yeah, good evening, everybody. Cheers for getting involved. This is a bit of a weird night because it's all the game twos of the series that start on Tuesday night that we handicapped. So, but there's been no day baseball, so we're kind of we have this thing in the middle of the week. We mention it frequently that you're handicapping the game twos. When last night we talked about a team that was in form, a team that was good on the road, a team that was on a bit of a streak, a team that wasn't hitting, and nothing's changed. And so it's kind of pitchers. It's the starting pitchers that we're having to focus on without seeing how a team's looking maybe this series or this week. But yeah, we'll get some winners. Countdown's on. There's still some futures plays to be had. I keep getting drawn to Seattle in terms of playoffs and even to go further. And I hadn't looked today at Philadelphia to win the World Series at 22-1 because they're well ahead in the wild card race. And they're just the kind of team with the kind of pitching rotation that can go deep in that format. They're sort of built for it, where you get a team like the Brewers who aren't, you get a team like the Phillies who are. In 22-1, indeed is very live. So,
are you basically do you like Philly just because of their path, or you like them because of just in general?
Just in general, yeah. They've got that sort of 1-2-3 starter. And they've got this lineup that can do all different kinds of things, and they're clicking as well. I mean,
maybe I just don't like their pitching. I don't like their pitching. I like Lorenzen, and I mean Willer's okay and Nola's okay, but I don't know. What you think, Munaf? Do you like their pitching staff? Maybe I'm just lower on their pitching rotation.
Yeah, I know that we talked about at the beginning of the season that their arms may have been or will be taxed this season just because they made that World Series run. I think it has happened to the Astros ever since they won the World Series a couple of seasons ago and last season as well, right? Like we talked about the injuries that they are dealing with are the Astros. I think that might be catching up to the Phillies as well. But I think the back end guys have been really good, right? Taijuan Walker has been really good for this Phillies lineup, and also Ranger Suarez, unfortunately, I think he just landed on the 15-day IL for this team. But Nola pitched pretty well last night, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I know Zach Wheeler had a troubling outing on Sunday Night Baseball, but I think they'll be okay. Again, their offense, when clicking, can be up in that conversation of being one of the better ones in the National League. So, especially for a team that had got a taste of what the World Series was like last season, I think they really want to repeat that success for this upcoming year.
Yeah, I think that counts for a little bit as well. The fact that they came down the stretch last season and they know how that feels. It was just, I thought it was a big price. Like, and you look into them and it's still odd at this time of year that you can still find 22-1 shots that you think are very, very live in a competition, because it's rare you'd find that. I don't think you would get that in. It's playoff. It's games with playoffs, not something is Premier League, something like that. You would never see that. If a team's got a chance, they're going to be minus 120, plus 120. You're not going to get a 22-1 shot who's still in with a chance.
I agree with you on the price. I'm not a fan. I just like their path better than I like their rotation. I mean, offense is the offense. You know, it's going to be good, but I like their path more than I do their actual pitching rotation. But I guess offense can carry you if you got the right matchup.
We talked about Seattle's path last night, because if this playoff started tomorrow, they get Minnesota or Milwaukee. Let me check my lines.
I think I'd like them either way, no matter who they got.
That's what I mean.
Minnesota, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Put the invoice on it, Munaf.
I mean, it's just it's Minnesota. Yeah, just checking yesterday's notes, and I mean, it's just nothing to scare you off at all. Like, so, we'll enjoy this first game though, Lonte. 12:35 Eastern first pitch. The St. Louis Cardinals, Pittsburgh Pirates. Both pitchers TBD, but it is Matthew Liberatore for St. Louis, and we have Andre Jackson going for Pittsburgh. Yeah, Matt Liberatore has been he's been at the center of a couple of kerfuffles between me and Lonte in the last couple of weeks. Plus 102 on St. Louis, minus 105 on Pittsburgh. There's loads of tight games on this card, loads of games that you couldn't put a cigarette paper between the two teams. Total here is 9.5 or 10. So Liberatore, 2-5 on the year. 6-12 ERA. Yes, he made me look a genius 2 starts ago, and he made me look an idiot 1 start ago. So what's going to happen this time? I'm a little bit worried, I'll be honest. I'm not just going to bloody-mindedly follow him tomorrow. He's got a 7.17 road ERA. And St. Louis are really, really struggling. They've lost 4 of his last 5. I mentioned last night that they'd gone on a 4-game skid where they'd only scored 5 runs. They then hit 7 in between and were back to 1 again on Monday night, sorry. So they're just not scoring any runs. Andre Jackson, obviously not a household name, 0-1 on the year, 5.28 ERA. He started 3 games. He's appeared 9 times out of the pen. So he starts. This will be his 3rd start. He started his 2 starts. He's pitched 8 innings for 9 hits, 5 earned runs. He's given up 2 homers, 5 walks. There's a little bit of everything from Andre Jackson. But just St. Louis, just unbackable. They've lost 11 of 15. They're finding all different types of ways to lose. They're just not scoring enough runs. I'm going to fade Liberatore again. I was worried about taking Pittsburgh for tonight's game at minus 142. That wasn't very appealing. But taking them at minus 105 is a much more backable prospect. So, yeah, count me in. I'll take Pittsburgh at minus 105, Muna.
Yeah, I can't get behind this Cardinals team. I try to make a case for them at the second half preview that we did after the All-Star break, but I think they have bigger issues, especially with pitching, and I think the manager should be gone at the end of the season. I know Pirates, so we talked about like they peaked a couple seasons ago, but their offense has still been able to pull up runs. I can't get behind Matthew Liberatore here. I'll lean with I'll go with the Pirates here. I'm sorry.
So 2 for the Pirates, Lonte. You won Liberatore this week.
No, I'm not actually. 4 earned runs allowed in 3 of his last 4 starts, and he's been worse on the road. 4 of his last 5 road starts, he's allowed 4 earned. I mean, I like Pittsburgh in this series. I mean, I bet them last night. I bet them tonight. I'll be betting them again tomorrow. Specifically, I like their team total to go over with the way their offense has been going. I mean, I think they got out right away, maybe 6 or 7 early in that first 5 innings. So I think they could do pretty much the same here. Maybe not to that same extent, but I think they can get 6 or 7 in this game. Won 4 straight in the series. I don't see anything changing here. I think they'll roll all the way through the series. So I like Pittsburgh and the team total to go
over. We might have just wasted 4 minutes of everybody's lives because Kaysen in the chat telling us that Liberatore's got on the IL today, which shit. I hadn't seen up to a couple of hours ago.
I didn't see that
that's it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know who pitcher would have to be on the mound for that to change my handicap particularly. Because I don't think St. Louis have got one that could. And maybe those why the prices are like they are. So yeah, we leave that as a watching brief. Okay, I'll tell you about DraftKings first up before we crack on. The time has finally arrived for college football, traditions, tailgates, and the great offers from DraftKings Sportsbook. Customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 in any college football bet. Munaf, who's the big college winner this weekend?
That's a great question for Lonte.
Oh, is it Lonte? Who's the big winner this weekend?
You mean like Munaf just he caught me off guard. You mean like just a game that I like, or just,
yeah? We just need a pick.
Man, I like. Let's see. Let's go with Ohio plus 3.5.
There we go. Sorry, I caught Munaf off guard, so he just passed the baton on to you.
His response caught me off guard. I had to
stitch you up instead.
Control myself from laughing.
Well done, everyone. Kick off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app. Use the code DGEN. New customers score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code DGEN. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling at 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 or over in most eligible states, where age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.com. Sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. I've got 98% of the way through that without cocking it up. Game time tickets, important business tickets, can be stressful, can be a right pain in the arse, in fact, but not with Game Time. Game Time is an outstanding way of getting your tickets for your favourite events without the stress. You can buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, theatre. You've got killer deals on last-minute tickets and the best price guarantee too. I know a lot of people at the SGPN have used Game Time for things like the flash deals and the last-minute tickets, the low price guarantee, event cancellation protection, things like that are really important. So you can forget planning months in advance. Game Time, we've got tickets on football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theatre, and more. And the Game Time guarantee means if you find the tickets in the same section and no for less, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. So what you need to do to exploit all of this, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Create an account, redeem the code SGPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. 1:10 Eastern first pitch, the Chicago Cubs at the Detroit Tigers. Jameson Taillon for Chicago and left-handed pitcher Tarek Skubal for Detroit. Plus 102 on the Cubs, minus 115 on the Tigers. Total is set at 8.5. Another one of these very close games to call, Lonte. So how did you do it?
Yeah, I mean, this was a tough game. I'm gonna lean to Detroit and the over. I mean, Detroit is 33-25 to the over at home. Both teams have had some success offensively, so rather than choosing a side, I'm gonna go with the total. I mean, the Cubs have scored 4+ in 4 of their last 5. Detroit also have scored 4+ in 4 of their last 5. I like it is still Skubal and Taillon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I like Skubal a little bit more than Taillon. Skubal is in good form since his injury. He delivered his first quality start of the year. He had 33 called swinging strikes on 88 pitches. So I think he's been doing really well there. He had an ERA of 270, 1.2 WHIP, and 16-4 K to walk ratio through 16 2/3 in August. So he's looking good. I think he can shut them down for a little while. But again, once they get to the bullpen, I think all bets are off as far as the total. So I lean to Detroit because I like Scuba a little bit more than Tyone. But overall, I like the over a lot more.
Munaf?
I like the Tigers' first 5 innings here on the money line, or if you want to even lay the run line here on the first 5 innings. Tarek Skubal has been really good over the last 5 games. Take a look at his numbers. 3-1 with a 3.08 ERA. He's only allowed 9 runs in 26 1/3 innings pitched. And at Comerica Park, I think it's called, in Detroit, 18 1/3 innings pitched. He's only allowed 1 run overall, but 0 earned runs. Coming off a great outing against the Cleveland Guardians, 6 innings pitched, only allowed 3 hits, 1 earned run. And you take a look at the Chicago Cubs, at least over the last 2 weeks against left-handed pitching, they've fallen all the way down to number 22. I know they were one of the better teams as far as WRC plus against left-handed pitching. Team batting average against left-handed pitching. They are, let's see here. Where is Chicago? Number 26. Also, I do like a Tarek Skubal strikeout prop. Chicago Cubs, number 4 in the last 2 weeks in team strikeout percentage against left-handed pitching, right around 26.9%, rounded up to 27. So I think that before the bullpens get involved for the Tigers, I like the Tigers in the first 5 innings here, Mel.
You see, I've got the Cubs. You two have got me scratching my head a little bit because I like the Cubs in this book, and it's really it's really hard to split the 2 pitches. I like them both. Tyone has launched quite an impressive fight back, actually, bear in mind where he was early in the season. And I do like Skubal, so it's hard to split them. Terry Carpenter has been absolutely flying for Detroit. 18-game hitting streak, I think, for Carpenter. There's not much in it. I think the Cubs are a better lineup. Therefore, at plus 102, when I can't split the pitches, I'll take Chicago. I watched the game last night. I watched the first 2/3 of the game. Was it Detroit last night? Yeah, they got ahead. Yeah, they got ahead, gave up a lead, and came back and won it. And they just sort of 1 or 2. They're going to consistently be 1 or 2 runs better than Detroit. So at the prices, I'll take the Cubs at plus 102. 2:10 Eastern first pitch is the Seattle Mariners at the Chicago White Sox. George Kirby, who's been the subject of a lot of the chat this evening, goes for the Mariners, and Michael Kopech goes for the Chicago White Sox. We have lines of minus 192 for Kirby and the Mariners, plus 155 for Kopech and the White Sox. You can have a 9 or a 9.5 if you want it for the total. Lonte, Kirby's been flying.
Yeah, man. I like I mentioned in the chat, I took a flyer on Kirby. I missed the 22. I think Trev got the 22. I missed it. I got grabbed 20. I mean, I just think that market is just like so like wide. It's wide open, but anything can happen. Like all kind of things, can happen within a few games. And I think each of these guys got about 6, maybe 7 starts left. So the way the Mariners have been playing, I think Kirby is primed for a good value bit. Not saying he's going to win, but I think it's a good value bit. But Seattle, I mean, I like the team total to go over. I lean to the full game over also. They've scored 6+ runs in 4 of the last 5 games, double digits twice. Kopech, he struggled in his last 2 starts, 13 earned runs, 4 of those being home runs. And he's had some control issues, walked 4+ batters in 4 straight games and in 8 of his last 10. So if you want to look at his walk prop, maybe take a look at that. With the offense playing, as well as Seattle, I know, Mel, you mentioned taking them in the postseason. So I think they're trending in the right direction at the right time. Kirby, he's been pretty good, but I want to see him take another step to kind of like solidify himself going into the postseason. Hopefully they can surge here. So I like the team total over. I lean to the full game over, but I mostly like that team total. I mean, I mostly like that team total for Seattle against Kopech.
Okay, thank you, Munaf.
Yeah, I mean, this one's simple for me. I think it's 2 teams that are going in opposite directions. Mariners offense has been absolutely on fire, dating back to the series against the Astros over the weekend. They put up 14 runs on Monday night against the White Sox. Kirby's in great form. Michael Kopech is going in the opposite direction. Over his last 5 starts for Michael Kopech, 1-3 with an 8.37 ERA. The White Sox have lost 4 of his last 5 starts. 3 of those 4 losses have come by multiple runs. And over his last 4 straight starts, he's allowed at least 4 walks to the opposition. And he hasn't been able to get past the 5th inning, or at least to the 6th inning in any of those 5 starts. At home this season, just 1-6 with a 4.71 ERA in 12 starts. So Mariners in all which ways here. Run line, team total over. I agree with Lonte mentioned there. So Mariners in every which way against the White Sox here, Mel.
Yeah, the Seattle run line's my pick. It's not big or clever, -115. But Michael Kopech doesn't need this. He doesn't need the Mariners coming into town at all. He needs something different. I mean, there's all kind of players you could pick out. I think actually one negative, Emerson Hancock went to the IL today. They should be able to replace him. But he was doing a really good job at the back end of their rotation. But Julio Rodriguez has had 17 hits in 4 games, which is quite remarkable. They've just come off a season-high 14 runs, as Munaf pointed out. Cal Raleigh, 10 home runs since July the 1st for the big dumper. And then we talked about Kirby last night. They've obviously pushed him back a night. This historic walk to strikeout rate, 266 Ks to 36 walks, which is some sort of record going back to like 1901. And just talking about them in the playoffs, I saw, is it Mark DeRosa, the MLB Central man, broke down mentioned this. This wouldn't come onto my radar at all. The Seattle rotation, all pitched from sort of different arm slots, different angles. And he just said it makes it really hard. He said you can go against a team and they would have 3 similar right-handed pitchers. And by day 3, he said he felt sorry for the man on the mound because they'd all seen it for the previous 2 days. So this man was going to get shelled. He said, you go against Seattle, they're different every day. And that could really mess with you and really mess with the lineup, getting into your rhythm. And factoring that out over the course of a series is something I thought was a really good point to make. And the more I sort of watch or learn about Seattle, the more I want to get involved with them this towards the end of this season. Okay, let me tell you about our Patreon. Sign up, check it out. You'll get exclusive contests, including the NFL Win Totals contest. It's got a $1,000 first place prize. The birth of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network has just been recorded in the first of that series on the podcast as well. The Discord channel and everything else you associate with sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Patreon is the place to find it all. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And Underdog Fantasy, getting towards the end of August. So fantasy football is back. You can draft all your teams on Underdog Fantasy. Get championship ready for your home league by trying out the best ball drafts. You've got live snake draft, no waivers, no trades. Set it and forget it. Underdog will do the rest for you. Best Ball Maniac, $15 million in total prizes with an absurd $3 million for the winner. So the time is now to get across to draft your fantasy football team. You've got till September the 7th to do that. Visit underdogfantasy.com or find them in the App Store. Sign up with the promo code SGPN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 2:10 Eastern first pitch. These are the Minnesota Twins at the Milwaukee Brewers. Kenta Maeda for the Twins and Corbin Burns for the Brewers. Plus 122 on Minnesota, minus 140 on the Brewers. Total is 8.5. Maeda 3-7, 4.13 ERA. He's still pitching well, but Minnesota never win his games. Look at that record, 3-7. His last 2 starts, he's pitched well. They lost to Detroit. And they're not very good on the road either, 29-34. Corbin Burns is 9-6 on the year with a 3.43 ERA. He had a bad start at the White Sox, but he was great either side of that, including last time out, 7 innings scoreless at the Dodgers. That plays, I think, in anybody's book. And 3 outings where he gave up 2 earned runs in each of them before that. This is the kind of game the Brewers are built to win. The teams who are on a similar level, but just slightly worse. Like I say, Brewers aren't a playoff baseball team, but are Very capable of winning games exactly like this. And behind Burns at -140. It's another boring pick, but I think they just win, Munaf.
Yeah, I mentioned it multiple times on the pod that Corbin Burns has had a lot of success against the American League teams in his career. Overall, for his career against American League, 12-2 with a 2.42 ERA. Just this season alone, 4-1 with a 3.76 ERA. I know his last two starts against American League teams, especially the AL Central, haven't gone very well. But fortunately for the Brewers and Corbin Burns, that the offense has been able to score enough runs for them to win those games. So, like you mentioned, Kenton Maeda, he's been pitching well. The record doesn't reflect it, especially over his last 5 games where he only has a 2.63 ERA. But the offense hasn't really showed up. I mean, last game they did score 7 runs for him, but unfortunately the Tigers scored 8 in that game against Kenton Maeda in the Minnesota Twins. And I don't trust his bullpen for the Twins either. I think I have the better pitcher on the mound, definitely in Corbin Burns, especially being at home. I think that -140 price is a little bit cheap here on Corbin Burns. I would lay the -1.5 run line here as well. I think there's some value there. But anytime I do lay it with the Brewers, they always end up by 1 run. So I'll be conservative and lay that -140 price with you there, Mel.
Yeah, we can have a little building block bet on this one, Munaf. That's fine. Lonte.
Yeah, I like Milwaukee also. I think it's a little bit short for Burns. He's coming off a big performance in LA where he generally hasn't performed well. Only allowed, 2 hits, no earned. He's had three straight home starts without allowing over 2 runs. He did give up 3 in Minnesota, but that was more likely. I think he just had 1 bad inning. Otherwise, he could pretty much shut him down. Maeda, you mentioned it, Mal. He pitches well. He can't get it. He can't get a win for some reason. I don't know if Minnesota hates him or what's going on, but his quality of opponents hasn't been really that good. Also, I think Kansas City's in there. Maybe Oakland a time or two, Detroit. So he hasn't faced the most dominant offenses. It's not saying that Milwaukee's offense is dominant either, but it's definitely a step up from what he's been seeing. And I like the way Milwaukee's offense has been playing. I mean, they've scored they've won 7 of 10. They won they scored 6+ runs in their last 3 games after only combining for 4 in the previous 3. So I think the offense is off to a better start. They look good against Texas this weekend. Man, I think this is a smash spot for Milwaukee. I'll play him first 5. And Munaf, you might don't want to take him on that run line, but I'll do it for you, man. I'll split the profit with you.
There you go.
Yeah. You got a car to pay for, Lonte. You keep that.
You're right.
The next game's the one that's off the board. Fortunately, I don't think we're missing much. It's a 3:37 first pitch between the Kansas City Royals and the Oakland Athletics. Cole Ragans, left-handed pitcher for Kansas City. Oakland is TBD. Oakland have got a game in about 3 hours, and that's TBD. So they don't know what they're doing tonight, let alone on Wednesday. Got some lines though. Ragans and the Royals are -135. Oakland are +114. Totals at 7.5. Munaf, could you make much of this?
I think the only time you probably want to back the Oakland A's is when Paul Blackburn is on the mound. But outside of that, I know they've dealt with a lot of injuries to that pitching rotation. And again, it might just be bullpen day here tonight, or it might be a bullpen day on Wednesday afternoon as well. But Cole Ragans hasn't been too bad for the Kansas City Royals. 2-1 on over his last 5 games at least. 2.51 ERA, allowed 8 runs over 28 2/3 innings pitched. This Royals team, I know they've been slated as one of the worst teams in MLB this season, but it seems like they're not giving up really. And there's some exciting players on that side of the baseball for the Kansas City Royals. So, I mean, I'll lean here with the Royals. Not much more to add, especially without a pitcher for the Oakland A's.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Lonte.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think that I like the over. I mean, both teams over in 7 of the last 10. But outside of that, I've actually been. I mean, it pains me to say this, but I've kind of been on Oakland a lot in this month. So they've actually owned Kansas City. They've won 3 of the last 4 matchups. They've scored 5 or more in all 3 wins. Kansas City scored 4+ in all 4 games. So that's why I like the over. But I wouldn't be shocked if Oakland came out and won this game, but I like the over a whole lot more than anything else.
The first thing I want to do is shout out Zach Geloff, because I was a little bit disparaging about him the other night. I was trying to demonstrate how bad the Oakland lineup was, and I was a bit flippant. And Zach Geloff's been really good, so I apologise to Zach Geloff. He's had 18 game on base streak, 21 extra base hits since the All-Star break. He's been absolutely outstanding. Oakland's doing okay. Reagan's is good enough for Kansas City, but that total's too low. Lonte is right, 7.5 is too low. There's been at least 8 runs in 9 of the last 10 Oakland games, and these could bash each other up here. It'll be rubbish, but we'll get over 7.5. So I'll take the over. 4:05 Eastern first pitch. It's the San Francisco Giants at the Philadelphia Phillies. Alex Cobb for the Giants and Michael Lorenzen for Philadelphia. Plus 115 the Giants, minus 126 Philly. Total is 8.5 or 9, depending. And Lonte can break it down.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I was on mute. I like Philly and the team total to go over here. They scored 7+ runs in 4 of the last 5 games. I think Lorenzen, I think he bounces back. I know, Mal, you were on him. I think we were head-to-head maybe like a few weeks ago or in his last start against Washington. I think he bounces back from that. I don't like the way San Francisco is trending right now. And Cobb, 15 earned runs, combined in his last 3 starts. He's at 4+ in 4 of his last 6 starts. He's also been allowing a lot of contact. And he's just not good against the Philadelphia team, who we talked about at the top. The bats they're getting into rare form right now. So not a good recipe. I like Philly. I like the team total to go over here.
Okay, so we like an over there. Munaf?
Yeah, I think Lonte mentioned on the last pod that we probably want to fade Michael Lorenzen coming off of the no-hitter, and that's exactly what happened in his last start, that he got hit by the Washington Nationals. But I think this is a good bounce-back spot for him going up against the Giants, especially with Alex Cobb on the mound here, who's been struggling over his last 5 starts. He's allowed at least 4 earned runs in 3 straight starts, and the Giants have lost 3 straight starts when he is on the mound by multiple runs. And I know 2 of those games were against the better offenses in the National League with the in the league, I should say. Texas Rangers got 6 off of him in 4 1/3, and the Braves got a 4 off of him in just 5 2/3 innings pitched. And now you're going up against the Phillies offense, who's also starting to click here. And I know we talked about him at the top of the show about maybe, getting down on them to possibly make a run to the World Series again. So I like the team total over, like Lonte mentioned, for the Phillies here. I also like them on the run line here, minus 1.5 at plus 150. I think that's a lot of value, especially going up against Alex Cobb.
Mine was just more straightforward than that. Philly money line minus 126. Cobb's good for 3 or more, and like I say, I've looked into the Phillies a little bit, and I'm quite keen on them. They are clicking. The offense is going along really well. I understand the fading of Lorenzen. We saw it with Valdez, who really struggled, kind of still struggling 3 starts after his no-hitter. That's the one thing that would concern me. But I've talked Lorenzen up all year. I'm not going to stop now. So Philly on the money line, minus 126. 4:07, we have the first leg of a doubleheader between the Cincinnati Reds and the LA Angels. Left-handed pitcher Andrew Abbott for Cincinnati, Shohei Ohtani for the Angels. It's plus 152 on Cincinnati, minus 170 on the Angels, with a total of 7.5 or 8. The Reds are winding me up this week. I pick the same pick every night with different pitchers, and the prices keep sliding out. So we took Ashcraft on Monday at plus 110. He didn't pitch. We then took Abbott last night at plus 130 something. He didn't pitch. We've now got Abbott again tonight at plus 150 something. So I'm getting the same 2 pitchers at bigger prices every night. And the bigger the price gets, the more I like him. Yes, it's Shohei Ohtani. I get it. It's also the LA Angels, and they have this horrendous habit of not doing anything for Ohtani. Abbott had a wobble, but his last 2 starts have been fine. The Reds have won 4 of his last 5. Ohtani did struggle through early July on the mound. He had some arm fatigue, but he has looked good again since. This could be a bit of a pitching duel. But the presence of Ohtani's name makes the price far too short. And ergo makes the price far too big on Cincinnati. They're good on the road as well, 33-27 Cincinnati on the road. That surprised me. So yeah, winning road record, good starting pitcher against the Angels, plus 152. I'll take the Reds, Lonte, please.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on the Reds
Ooh.
also. I think you pretty much hit everything. I mean, Ohtani, he hasn't pitched in what, like a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that.
The last time he pitched was on the 9th, so about close to almost about 2.5 weeks, we can say.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and he's allowed 4+ in 3 of his last 4 starts. ERA right around 5 or somewhere below 5, but not far off. Abbott, he settled in after he struggled in July. Going into August, he had allowed 10 earned runs in his previous 2 starts before allowing just 4 in his last 2 combined. I mean, I say it all the time, but it's pretty much correlated. If Cincinnati can get their offense going, they win. They can't win low-scoring games for whatever reason. I'm not sure what it is, but they just can't win low-scoring games. So if their offense is going, they're going to win. And I think their offense will get going here with Ohtani dealing with some fatigue problems. So I like Cincinnati at the plus price, like the team total to go over also.
Love it. It's Munaf.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long Ohtani's actually going to pitch in the game because, I mean, we've seen it. I think it was a couple starts ago where he was out there for 4 innings and he got pulled because fatigue or a blister, or the case might be, but he still stays in the game to DH or whatever the case might be for the Angels. But Andrew Abbott has been really good this season for the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, arguably we could say maybe the best pitcher for the Reds. Being a left-handed pitcher, the Angels are struggling against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. Again, when people probably see Ohtani on the mound, the public sees him. Oh, let's put him in a parlay with that, 2-team parlay with Ohtani and another team that's a heavy favorite. But I think, again, for the Reds, I think they do have some. I think the offense can get going here a little bit. I did see Mike Trout just got activated for the Angels. Yes. I don't know why, for what reason, but
yes, higher value for us, Munaf. Higher value.
So, and just, again, over the last 2 weeks, just looking at, like I mentioned, the Angels numbers over the against left-handed pitching, it just kind of leads me towards a value here on the Reds. So I'll go with the Reds with you guys.
Activation is 2 days late to save Captain Encino from Mike Trout twatting him in our fantasy matchup this week. I've been waiting for Trout and Judge to come back forever, so I'm ready for my end of season charge now. I'll tackle the second game of the doubleheader now, out of order, just because it's a bit of a mess. Cincinnati are TBD. The Angels have got Detmers going, and the Angels are priced up at minus 205 with Cincinnati at plus 170. So I don't really know what to do with this. No one's taking Detmers at minus 205. So you've got 2 options. Even if you like him, which I do, you're not backing him at minus 205. I'm not an idiot. So you either back Cincinnati blindly, plus 170, which I wouldn't put you off, or you ignore the entire thing because you don't know what's going on. So that would be my reading of that part of the doubleheader, Munaf. You?
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off of probably his best start of the season, 7 1/3 innings, 1 hit against the Texas Rangers, which I think is more of an outlier for Reed Detmers. So I'm expecting him to look like the Reed Detmers that we're used to seeing and just fading him. But the crazy part is of how bad that he's been, that despite having that great start in his last start against the Rangers, he still has a 6.94 ERA over his last 5 starts. And that's including giving up 7 earned runs each to the Angels and the Mariners. And again, over his last 5 starts, the Angels have lost 4 of his last 5 starts. All 4 games have lost by multiple runs. So if you want to have a little bit of fun, depending on who the pitcher is, or if you don't really care, you just want to fade Detmers, maybe looking for a Cincinnati Reds minus 1.5 run line here. You might get a really nice plus price on that, maybe north of $2 for the Reds there, but not a fan of Reed Detmers.
Okie doke. Lonte.
Yeah, you definitely can't lay anything. I wouldn't lay 110 with Reed Detmers right now. We've seen these pitchers regress with outlier performances. We mentioned Lorenzen earlier. I think we're going to talk about another one coming up in Mackenzie Gore. But yeah, you got to fade some of those guys off of those big performances that are outliers. I mean, what I'll do, I'll just take Cincinnati both ways. I mean, I think they are going to win at least one. If you're feeling really spicy, just parlay both of them and, get you a T-shirt like me and Mal did with Kansas City and Oakland a few weeks back.
A few more faces to say hello to. Aiden's joined us, Josh as well. QB1, questionable bets, is in the chat. Good evening, folks. How are you doing? 4-10 Eastern first pitches, the Miami Marlins at the San Diego Padres. Sandy Alcantara for Miami and Seth Lugo for the Padres, plus 105 on the Marlins, minus 120 on the Padres. Total 7.5/8. Lonte?
Yeah, I kind of struggle with this, to be honest. I'll be interested to hear you guys take on it. I lean to Miami in the over, I think 7.5. You did say 7.5, right? Yeah, so I think 7.5 might be a little short. San Diego has dominated them this year. They won 3 of 4. I think that includes last night. They've outscored them 26-9 in the process. But I kind of like Sandy more than I do Lugo. Lugo's fine, but he does allow a solid amount of contact. Teams just not making him pay for it. So I kind of see some regression coming for him. Sandy, while he started off rough, he's been okay and getting back to his normal self. He's held his own against solid offenses, and especially on the road, he's pitched pretty well. Overall, he's allowed over 2 earned runs 3 times in his last 8 starts. So I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty telling here. Inconsistent San Diego offense, something I just can't get behind right now, especially with a pitcher like Sandy on the mound. So I'll lean to Miami. I like the over a lot, though.
Lugo. You mentioned that he gives up a lot of contact. You're kind of always waiting for a blow up from Lugo, as good as he has been. Sandy Alcantara is one of the 2 pitchers on the card who were mounting his fight back. We mentioned Jameson Taillon, and Sandy is the second one of those 2. Jake Berger's hitting really well for Miami. He's got a 12-game hitting streak going. Miami have been sneaky good. There's not much in it. I like Sandy a lot. Lugo's vulnerable. Miami at plus 105 on the money line is my pick, Munaf.
Yeah, Sandy's looked like he's getting back to form, at least young form from last season, I should say. And I know he was absolutely terrible to start this year, but last 5 games, 3-1 with a 2.13 ERA. 2 of those 5 starts has been complete games by Sandy. So I know he got a little bit of trouble against the Padres earlier this season, where he allowed 4 earned runs in just 6 1/3 innings pitch. He allowed 5 walks, but it seems like he's gotten the walks under control. Home runs are the issue for Sandy, because all 3 of the runs that he did allow against the Dodgers were all solo home runs, and he also allowed 3 home runs to the Texas Rangers a few starts ago. So I think if he's able to keep the ball in the ballpark against his Padres offense, I know they broke out last night against Ryan Weathers, but again, going up against Sandy here, I think that I like the value here on the Miami Marlins, especially at a plus price. I think we definitely have the better pitcher. I think they'll score enough runs for Sandy in this start. So I'm on the Marlins with you guys.
6:40 Eastern first pitch, the Colorado Rockies at the Tampa Bay Rays. Austin Gomber, left-handed pitcher for the Rockies, and Aaron Savali takes the ball for Tampa. Plus 225 the Rockies, minus 265 the Rays. Total is set at 8. Gomber 9-9 on the year, 5.52 ERA. He got hit around last time at home by Arizona, but he's been really good on the road. 3.59 road ERAs, less 17 innings pitched away from home. 20 hits, but no 2 earned runs and no home runs. And that plays, if he's not letting too many ducks on the pond, I think he's going to be all right. Savali is fine, 6-3 on the year, 2.44 ERA. No one's laying minus 265 with Savali. That's just silly. But he has settled in nicely in Tampa since he was traded. 6 scoreless at San Francisco Giants. I'm just going to take the under 8. I don't mind Gomber or Savali, and the fact that Colorado have got a rubbish offense really helps as well. Tampa Bay might just win this 5-1 or something like that. So under 8 for me, Muna.
Yeah, the Rays were actually doing pretty well against left-handed pitching earlier in the season, but now they're well below league average in that category, whether you look at team batting average or WRC plus for the Rays. And like you mentioned, Aaron Savali has been really good for the Rays since he came over in the trade from the Guardians. They've won 2 out of his 3 starts. One game was a highest scoring affair where it was against the Guardians, 9-8 against his former team. But other than that, 42 loss to the Tigers and the 6-1 win against the Giants. So I could probably see something similar in that neighborhood, maybe like a 5-2, something in that neighborhood where it does go below this total for this game. I like what I've seen from Austin Gomber, especially on the road. I know it hasn't really translated to wins for the Rockies. In 11 starts, just 4 wins for the Rockies in that span when he has started, at least for Austin Gomber. But I like the under in this game. I'll lean with a raised run line here. I don't love it, but I think my more favorite play in this game is going to be the under 8.
Munaf sees my 5-1 and raises me a 5-2. Lonte, what have you got?
Yeah, so let me raise it one more time. Maybe they can win 6-1 because I like the team total to go over, and I'm assuming that it'll be 5.5.
I need to write this down. Hold
on. So maybe 5.5. So I'll go over that. They've scored 6+ in 4 straight games. Tampa, that is. They've also covered 7 of their last 10. So Munaf, the run line is a good play. They're 37-24 on the run line at home. Savali hasn't allowed over 3 earned runs since June 25th. So, I mean, he's in good form. Colorado's a dumpster fire. I mean, 24-39 on the run line on the road. They've lost 7 of 10. Yeah, just fade City right now. So I like Tampa team total to go over. I like them on the run line also. So I guess it's a Tampa podcast for right now.
Now you said 5-1?
5-1, yeah.
Okay.
I need
6-2.
I need 6-1.
okay. I wrote all 3 of those down.
All right, cool.
We'll clip the shit out of that, hammer it on the socials. 7:05 Eastern first pick to the Toronto Blue Jays at the Baltimore Orioles. Kevin Gausman for Toronto and Jack Flaherty for Baltimore. We have lines of -115 for the Blue Jays, +110 for the Orioles. 8/8.5 is the total for Munaf.
Yeah, I'll start here with Kevin Gausman. 9-7 on the season, 3.24 ERA, 187 strikeouts to 37 walks. Last 5 games, he's 2-2 with a 4.08 ERA. It's been solid on the road, 6-4 with a 3.38 ERA. Did face Baltimore already twice this season. 12 1/3 innings pitched in that span. He's allowed 5 earned runs, 4 walks, and only 10 strikeouts to the Baltimore Orioles. You did face him back on August 3rd, where he did take or I should say the Blue Jays took a 6-1 loss in that game. He allowed 3 earned runs and just 4 1/3 innings pitched. And they've been alternating between win-loss, at least over the last 5 games when Kevin Gausman is on the mound for the Blue Jays. On the other side, Jack Flaherty, last 5 games, 1-3 with a 6.48 ERA. For whatever reason, he loves pitching against this Blue Jays team because this season, in 11 innings, he's only allowed 1 earned run to the Toronto Blue Jays. He has a 2-0 record with a .82 ERA. And I believe his first start since the trade from the Cardinals to the Blue Jays was against from the Cardinals over to the Orioles was against that Blue Jays team where he went 6 innings, only allowed 1 earned run to that Blue Jays team. It's just very difficult to know what you're going to get out of Jack Flaherty at times, but it just feels like he has their number right now. And again, like I mentioned, that Kevin Gausman, at least historically against the Orioles, I'm trying to pull up the numbers here exactly, has struggled. Dating back to the last season, 4 starts against the Baltimore Orioles. He has a 1-2 record with a 5.06 ERA. He's allowed at least 2 earned runs in every one of those starts, and he allowed 5 earned runs last season, just 2 1/3 innings pitched. And like I mentioned, his last start, he only lasted 4 1/3, where he did allow 3 earned runs. So with all that said, I'll go with the Baltimore Orioles. I'll trust Jack Flaherty's record here against the Toronto Blue Jays. It just seems like he has his number. I'm comfortable with the Orioles at home. I'll take the -105 price on the Baltimore Orioles.
Okay, 1 for the Orioles, Lonte.
Yeah, Munaf, you mentioned the word non-trustworthy. So I'm kind of in a bit of a bind. I don't trust Flaherty and I don't trust Toronto. So I don't really know what to do in the situation. So I'll just take the over. It's hard to trust Toronto offensively, but they've been I don't have the splits in front of me, but Bo Bichette makes a big difference in that lineup. And him at the top of the lineup, I think he came back and had maybe 2 hits right away in his first game back, or either his first few games back. So him being at the top of that lineup makes a big difference. You mentioned Gausman. Gausman on the road has only allowed over 3 earned runs once in his last 5 starts. So if I had to make a pick, I would lean to Toronto, but I do like the over. I just don't trust Flaherty or this Toronto offense. So I guess if I got to make a pick, so I'll pick the over and lean to Toronto.
And Gausman's been my kryptonite all year. I just cannot get him right at all. So ignore whatever I'm going to say in the next 30 seconds. I've got to fade Flaherty. We faded him last time. Did he give up 5 in the first inning? we all agreed, everyone in the chat, the entire network last night agreed that it was a Baltimore smash spot for the Tuesday game. I'm going to go the opposite way around. I'm going to take, a bit like Lonte just said, not 100%, but I'm going to take the Blue Jays because I'm fading Flaherty rather than anything else. But like I say, whatever I've done with Gosman this season has been wrong. So we'll see about that. Over might just be the play. Lonte might be right. 7:05 Eastern first pitch is the Washington Nationals at the New York Yankees. Left-handed pitcher Mackenzie Gore for Washington and Luis Severino for the New York Yankees. Plus 124 on the Nationals, minus 148. The pinstripes. Total is 9, Lonte.
Yeah, man, it's gonna pain me to say you got to fade the Yankees, man. They are. I have no idea what they're doing. They lost 9 of 10. They showed a little fight in their last game, but you can't put your money. Don't put your hard-earned money on the Yankees, man. Severino was on the mound. It is still Severino, right?
Yes, believe so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, man. So he hasn't gotten out of the 4th inning in his last 4 starts. He's allowed a home run in 9 straight games, multi-home runs in 4 of those. Since July 1st, he's allowed 4+ earned runs in 5 of his 6 starts. 3 runs in 2 of his 3 games. He did not allow 4 runs. He probably just like if he was pitching more, he would have allowed that 4th run. So he hasn't been good at all. He has an ERA. He hasn't had an ERA under 7.5 in his last 4 starts. Don't expect it to happen now. I mentioned Mackenzie Gore's inconsistency. He's coming off a really, really good start. 6 1/3 innings pitched. Only allowed 1 hit in the scoreless feat against Boston. He has allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 3 of his last 5 starts. I've been betting on Washington a lot lately. They've been cooking for me. They've been underdogs, and in that series against Philly, I won a decent amount off them as well. The offense, 6+ runs in 3 of the last 5 starts. They're 35-22 on the run line in road games. If you could find a Washington minus 1.5 at a good plus price, I'd lay it. I think they bury New York here tomorrow night. I think they bury him tonight too. Also, so
confident underdog play for Lonte, Munaf.
Yeah, I wanted to. I'll start with this. The Yankees offense has been absolutely atrocious. I guess we can say all season, but especially over the last month or so. But what I found really interesting was that against left-handed pitching, they have been absolutely smashing in that spot. And again, Mackenzie Gore being a left-handed pitcher here, the Yankees as a team over the last 2 weeks against left-handed pitching in 75 plate appearances are batting 386 against left-handed pitching. They're slugging at 586, which is number 2. OPS, they're number 2 at 1012. And WRC plus, they're number 1 at 184. They're battling it out with Atlanta, who we know has been one of the more consistent, if not best offense in that entire MLB this season. So I think we see runs in this game. I think the Yankees, again, like I mentioned, because they've been doing well against left-handed pitching and tagged Mackenzie Gore for a few. We know the story about Luis Severino. He's just been giving it up at will for the New York Yankees. So I think this number 9 is a little conservative here. I can't bring myself to a side for either one of these teams, but I do expect to see runs in this game. So I'll take the over 9 as my favorite play in the game between the Yankees and the Nationals.
Before the aliens got you yesterday, Lonte, you guessed that Carlos Rodon was my nope of the day.
Was he?
You were wrong. He wasn't, no, but Severino is.
He should be everybody's nope.
Yeah, he really should be. And go, those left-handed stats that Munaf's just thrown out do concern me a little bit. I mean, it's been more good than bad out to go lately. This is pretty similar handicap to last night, really. It's a game we haven't seen yet. Obviously, Gray against Rodon. You've got to go against Severino. They're plus 124 for this Wednesday game. They were plus 168 for the Tuesday game. They're going to win one of those games. So let's just keep backing them. They might win them both, but they're definitely going to win one. So keep betting Washington, and we find ourselves in profit is what's going to happen. 7:10 Eastern first pitch is the LA Dodgers at the Cleveland Guardians. Left-handed pitcher Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers and Xavier Curry for Cleveland. Minus 215 the Dodgers. Plus 180 the Guardians. Total is 8.5. Kershaw 11-4, 248 has been absolutely outstanding lately. 124 ERA in his last 5 starts. His last 2 games, a solo home run in each of them, with the only score that he gave up. Xavier Curry, he's 3-1 on the year with a 3.24 ERA. He started 6 games and been all right, 6 innings with 1 earned run last time against Detroit. He has, on occasion, walked a couple too many. Also, on occasion, he's managed to keep it in check. And he's also given up some long balls. He's capable if he can keep those 2 things in check. Obviously, that's a big if. But I think he can go okay here. I'm going to take a first 5 under. Obviously, Kershaw is going to help by giving up nothing, maybe 1. So Xavier can keep it tight, which I think he's capable of. He's proven. I think he's pitched well enough that we have to give him a chance, or I have to give him a chance. So first 5 under would be my pick, Muna.
Yeah, Clayton Kershaw has been in Cy Young form. It's unfortunate that he hasn't been able to stay healthy all season, but I think he would have definitely been in that conversation, at least for Cy Young in the National League. But last 5 games for Clayton Kershaw, 3-0 with a 1.24 ERA. He's made 2 starts since returning. He's been absolutely fantastic in both of those games. Like Mal mentioned, it's been solo home runs that he's allowed. And that has been pretty much it. He's gone 5 innings in both of those starts for the LA Dodgers. And you talk about him being a left-handed pitcher. Well, the Guardians have been at the bottom of the league over the last 2 weeks in most offensive statistical categories against left-handed pitching. And now you're going to base Clayton Kershaw, who's in absolute fantastic form here. I think for Xavier Curry, I think that he's going to be tested in this game because he hasn't really faced a lot of good offenses in his starts, at least. He faced the Tampa Bay Rays in a start where they did get to him for 5 earned runs in that game. I think that might be a similar story here with the Dodgers possibly getting to Curry here. So I'll lay the -1.5 price on the run line with the Dodgers. I think Kershaw will go along well here. I think the offense should score enough runs for them to cover the run line here. So I think if Kershaw goes to maybe they push him to 6 games, depending on his pitch count and how he's going. I think the bullpen can come in and take care of the rest. So I'll go Dodgers -1.5 on the run line here. That's currently at -125.
Who's Xavier Howard? Is he a basketball man?
They're gonna need Xavier Howard. The way the Dodgers are probably gonna tee off on him, they're gonna need an extra defender. But I like the Dodgers on the run line. I like Cleveland's team total to go under. You mentioned Kershaw. I mean, he's just been like amazing. 2 earned runs in less than 7 straight starts. Only allowed 7 combined hits in his last 3 starts. So I don't look for anything to change here against Cleveland's offense, who they've lost 4 or 5. They failed to score 3 runs in 4 of those 5 games. I mean, in their home games, they're 69% to the under, and they're also under in 7 of their last 10. So that's kind of indicative of how they play. I hope you got that stat of the day down, Mal. That's a stat of the day for you.
That is a beauty.
The Dodgers, I mean, they've been on fire offensively. I mean, I mentioned those numbers earlier in the week. I mean, you can't. I don't think you can go against the Dodgers right now the way they're going, especially not with Cleveland. So I like the Dodgers run line. I like Cleveland's team total under. I like the Dodgers to go over their team total.
The penultimate game on the card tonight is the New York Mets at the Atlanta Braves. Left-handed pitcher Jose Quintana for the Mets, and Charlie Morton goes for Atlanta. Thanks, Munaf. Plus 154 on the Mets, minus 184 on the Braves, 9.5 or a 10. Lonte, Mets at the Braves.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Mets here. I know this might be unpopular. I like them in the first 5. I like them in the full game, and I like the over. Quintana's been really good. I mean, he pitched a gem versus Atlanta just maybe like a week and a half ago on the 12th, I think is what I have. 1 earned run on 4 hits. Atlanta pulled away late in that game, but it wasn't due to him pitching. I mean, their bullpen kind of just blew up, which it normally does, which is why I'll split a unit on the first 5 in the full game. I mean, he hasn't allowed over 3 earned runs in any of his starts since he's returned. So, I mean, Charlie Morton, he's got 11 shutout innings versus both New York teams. So in his last 2 starts, so he's pitched well against New York, but he has struggled before that. I mean, 4+ earned runs, in 3 of his previous 4 games. So I'm not really the biggest Morton fan. Atlanta's offense also has been a bit down this week. The Mets, on the other hand, they've scored 7+ in 3 of the last 4 games. So I think both teams can at least get us to 4, maybe 5 runs. I like the Mets here. I think they're a live dog to get it done. I seen you raising your hand, Mal. You must be with me.
Yeah, baby. I'm exactly with you. Yeah, plus 154 on the Mets. Munaf, I can't believe you laughed me out of betting them to make the playoffs the other night. I feel like you owe me. I feel like you owe me. The run they've started, they've won 7 of 9 now.
I'm not with you there, Mal. I'm not with you there.
It's a demonstration of how bad they were last week. We took the piss out of DJ Stewart back in cleanup. He's hit 5 home runs in his last 6 games. So we've single-handedly fired up DJ Stewart. Quintana was great last time. And Morton's vulnerable. So, yeah, we get a good start with Quintana, and the Mets can win a game, plus 154, Muna.
The concern I have about the Mets offense here, I know you guys mentioned they've been able to score runs, but the last start, Charlie Morton in 5 innings against the Mets issued 7 walks. 7 walks against the Mets, and the Mets scored a whole donut egg. Or sorry, but a donut in those 5 innings. And when a pitcher allows 7 walks in 5 innings, you should be able to score. I don't know the analytics or math behind it, but you should be able to score at least 1 run when a pitcher is giving up 7 walks in 5 innings. They're only able to get 3 hits off of that span as well. If you are a player prop better, you might want to take a look at Charlie Morton walks for tomorrow, because in 3 starts this season, he's allowed 3 walks, 4 walks, and 7 walks in the 3 matchups against the Mets. But like you guys mentioned, Jose Quintana has been doing very well this season, at least for the Mets. He just hasn't gotten the run support. But other than that, he's been pretty solid for this Mets pitching rotation. I'll lean with the Mets here with you guys. I don't love it because this could be a game where the Braves bats maybe finally figure out Quintana, but I think the more favorite play here for mine is looking at walks for both of these pitchers, because again, Quintana has allowed at least 2 walks in 5 straight starts. He's allowed 3 walks in 3 of his last 5 starts. And again, like I mentioned, Charlie Morton, at least 3 walks allowed to the Mets team in all 3 starts. So maybe a same game parlay here if you're one of those parlay bettors. But as far as official picks, I'll lean with the Mets, and maybe we could too see a couple runs being scored. So I'll lean with the over as well.
So we've got a team ride on the Mets at the Braves. I have finally dragged everybody down to my level, everyone. They're all drinking the Kool-Aid. The con is on. We've got 1 game left here. It's 8:10 Eastern first pitch between the Boston Red Sox and the Houston Astros. Chris Sale, left-handed pitcher for Boston, and Jose Urquidy for Houston. Plus 102, the Red Sox, minus 115. The Astros, 8.5/9 is your total, Munaf.
Yeah, Chris Sale, since he's returned for the Red Sox, has been pretty solid over his last 5 starts, or I should say his last 2 starts. Since he has returned, he's pitched a combined 9 innings. He's allowed 4 earned runs in that span and 3 hits. It seems like they're really trying to protect Chris Sale in case the Red Sox do make it to the playoffs. I know they're fighting for a wild card spot. And again, the Astros they're in that battle for the wild card spot and also the division as well. So these head-to-head meetings are mattering for both of these teams here. But I'm not sure I can trust Jose Urquidy in this spot here, because he just hasn't been very good over his last 5 games. On the season for Urquidy, 2-3 with a 5.21 ERA. His last 5 games, he's allowed, 14 earned runs in 18 1/3 innings pitched for the Astros. They brought him out of the bullpen his last game, maybe to kind of, I guess, clear his mind, because his starts haven't been very good. I'll lean here with the Red Sox at minus 105. I think kind of tells you where the books are kind of respecting the Red Sox and Chris Sale here, especially against the Astros offense, who has been doing pretty well against the against left-handed pitching. And again, yeah, Red Sox have been playing pretty well. I don't know how much we can take away from their sweep against against the Yankees over the weekend.
Not much.
Yeah, we can. And again, Chris Sale, I think should go along very well here. Maybe if he goes 4 or 5 innings, if you want to take the Red Sox in the first 5 innings, I don't hate that. But I'll go with the Red Sox on the money line minus 105 here.
Okay, Lonte.
They're gonna run you out of Houston, man. What are you doing? You better hope nobody's
man, it's both of my
listening.
teams, man.
Yeah, I lean to Houston, but this was kind of a hard game for me also. I think I want to bet on both of these teams, especially with Houston being at home. But I'll go to the over. I like the over more than the side. Boston 6+ runs in 4 of the last 5 games. Houston 6+ in 4 of the last 6. Houston's generally playing to the over at home. They're 33 and 28 to the over at home. Boston is 32 and 28 to the over in their road games. I kind of like Urquidy also, which is why I was leaning to Houston. I mean, he hasn't allowed over 2 earned runs in his last 3 home starts. So you mix that in. I like the over. If I had to make a play on the side, I'd lean to Houston, but I think it's a tough call either way.
Yeah, it is a tough call. The books are right, but I'm with Munaf. I'm with Boston. Sale's been good, but just short starts. You just want a little bit more out of him. Would make you feel happier with this. But it's Urquidy's patchy form, really. That makes it less reliable to bet Houston if you want to. Both Houston did snap that skid, but Houston and Urquidy are both quite difficult to bet at the moment. So in a close game, Boston and Sale have been quite attractive propositions recently. So that's enough for me. I'll take Boston at plus 102. That was pretty epic, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we made it to the end of the 15 games. Lock and dog time. We let Lonte lead off because Munaf's not normally ready. Lonte, what have you got?
Yeah, so for my lock, I'm gonna go with Michael Lorenzen and the Phillies laying the. Let's see what the best price I can get is 130.
Yep.
You see, 130 is the best price.
Yeah. Minus 126. I've got.
Okay, I'll take that too. So yeah, I think Lorenzen will bounce back from that performance. I mean, like I said, outside of the no hitter, he had still been pitching extremely well, even over in his when he was at Detroit. Not a fan of Cobb, not a fan of what San Francisco's been doing as of late. Have they thrown the most openers in MLB history? Like I seem like every other day they're throwing an opener. So Cobb, 15 earned runs in his last 3 starts. Been allowing a lot of contact. I think Philly tees off on him. I like Philly at a short home as a short home favorite here as my lock. As the dog, I'm trying to figure. Do I want to go? I'm going with Cincinnati plus 165. You see anything better than that? You guys see anything better than that?
No.
Yep. Cincinnati plus 165. I mean, I would wait if you're going to bet it because the public's going to come in. They're going to bet Ohtani. Munaf mentioned the fatigue issues or blister, whatever they wanted to say. Not sure how long he'll be going. He also has allowed 4+ runs in 3 of his last 4 starts. So, I mean, he hasn't been in good form as of late. I like Abbott. He settled down, and I think Cincinnati can score some runs here. So I think Cincinnati's a live dog in both games.
Munaf, you ready?
Yeah, I can go. All right, for my lock, I will go like 2 games or actually like 3 games, but
parlay him, Munaf.
give me the Mariners run line -1.5, -120 against the Chicago White Sox. It's 2 pitchers that are going in opposite directions. George Kirby has been having a phenomenal season for the Mariners, and their offense has been an absolute fire, while Michael Kopech is just going in the opposite direction for the Chicago White Sox. And I think this Mariners offense will be able to score enough runs here to cover this run line. I think Kirby should go along well here. Like I mentioned, he's been in great form, so I think we're getting a good discount price here on the run line. Again, I get all 9 at bats with the road team here in the Seattle Mariners. So -1.5, -120 for the Mariners. For my dog, I did like the Phillies on the run line on the plus 154 price. No, that's too short of a dog.
He's still not ready. Look, we knew this. He's still not ready. And now we're in 9 minutes and he's got nothing. Look. We've got 30 seconds left before.
All right, I'll go with I'll have to double dip with Lonte. Give me the -1.5 run line on the Phillies. I think that's just a lot of value, plus 154, especially like Alex Cobb, who's just been struggling so much over the course of the season. And this should be a bounce back spot for the for Michael Lorenzen. We talked about it. He was going to have a bad outing after pitching that no hitter. Only went 3 innings there. So again, this offense has been better as well for the Phillies. We talked about they've been able to put up runs. We talked about at the top of the show, maybe them possibly making a run again to the World Series. Who knows? But at least for this game, I like them at home. I like Michael Lorenzen to bounce back. That plus 154 price on the run line, I'll take that to the bank as my dog.
You've left me minus 11 seconds, being enough to get my picks out. You'll have to edit out that bit where you procrastinated. My lock is your lock, Munaf. I mean, I don't know why you took all that time because I had it written down. You could have just asked me. Seattle on the run line, -115, please. And for my dog, someone's got to throw the Mets out. We can't all take the Mets and then
I didn't take them because I knew
I
you were.
leaned with
them. Oh, did you leave me the Mets?
Yeah,
Did you?
I left you the Mets.
Boys, you're so kind. New York Mets plus. Honestly, I'm going to wake up, check the scores. Atlanta will win this 12-1. And we'll all go, that was funny. But yeah, New York Mets plus 154 is my pick. And we are done. Thank you, Lonte. Thank you, Munaf. Thank you, everyone who endured that in the chat. We appreciate it. And good luck. We've got a full slate of Tuesday games you can go and watch before we get stuck into these bets tomorrow. So good luck with everything you're doing. Back tomorrow night. Until then, see you down the road. Cheers.